Kannst du nicht hören? Behalte deine Theorien für dich, bevor wir nicht im Gerichtssaal angekommen sind. Der Mörder wurde bestätigt. Wir machen es kurz und schmerzlos. Hey, gleich beginnt der Kampf. Bist du bereit?
Yes, yes.
Komm schon mal, Kötchen. Let's do it. Was?
Just the worst.
Beeilen wir uns, damit Hiro für seine Sünden büßt. Ist sie bald nicht mehr zu sehen. Aber vielleicht werde ich dadurch schlanker. Hallo, Tanni. Vielleicht ist das eine gute, Die sind echt nicht mehr viele. Cool. Ich weiß nicht. Ihr müsst mir doch glauben.
Damn.
Mir gefällt Monokumas sorglose Einstellung nicht. Und dann auf geht's. Luvamir. Ich nahm einen letzten Atemzug. Danach ging ich auf den Aufzug zu. Sobald jeder ihn betrat, schlossen sich die Türen. Und es ging zur Hölle. Auf in die Hölle! Das Klopfen eines Aufzugs verbinde ich nun für immer mit Mord und Verrat. Es gab kein Zurück. Sofern es nicht aufgeklärt ist, können wir nicht fliehen. Ich weiß nicht, wie lange es dauerte, bevor der Aufzug endlich stoppte, aber das Geräusch der Türen, die aufgingen, wachten mich auf. Sei gegrüßt, Realität. Sei gegrüßt, Realität. Sei gegrüßt, grausames Schicksal. Wenn ich sehe, wie ihr alle hier euch versammelt. Mann, ich dachte, es kommt jetzt Voice-Over. Da merkte ich, wie wenig nur noch übrig sind. Bald beginnt die Klimax eurer Schulleben, was?
Just the worst.
Nur wegen dir. Warum? Warum müssen wir solch schreckliche Sachen machen?
Wawa?
Warum stichst du mich in die Hölle? Hölle. Was? Hast du mich so sehr dafür? Aber ich bin doch süß.
Come on.
Hör mit dem Mist auf und eröffne das Gericht. Bedränge mich nicht. Natürlich werde ich es jetzt starten, okay? Ich würde niemals eine einminütige Werbung vor einem 30-sekündigen Video machen.
Juhu!
Jedenfalls beginnt es jetzt. Findet eure jeweiligen Stände. Findet euer Stände. Was? Und so eröffnete sich der Vorhang ein drittes Mal. Eine tödliche Beurteilung, ein tödlicher Betrug, ein tödlicher Verrat, eine tödliche Wahrheit. Tödliches Rätsel, tödliche Verteidigung, tödliche Hoffnung, ein tödliches Klassengericht. Also weit hätten wir dann gestern auch noch machen können, hä? Muss ich echt so? Okay. Ach ja, Fähigkeiten. Moment, okay. Was haben wir denn jetzt Neues? Wir haben so ein paar Sachen gekriegt. Manipulation. Verringert Kraftpower, benötigt 5 Fähigkeitspunkte. Das nehmen wir mit. Was haben wir noch? Wir haben doch noch eins bekommen. Haben wir echt nur 3? Die sind echt scheiße, Chat. Die sind wirklich scheiße. Beweise. Blaue Plane. Ja, wobei, das kann man sich ja da noch angucken, nicht wahr? Nichts haben wir, ne? Mehr baggern, ja.
Let's begin with a basic explanation of the class trial. So, your votes will determine the results. If you can figure out who done it, then only they will receive punishment. But if you pick the wrong one, then I'll punish everyone besides the blackened, and the one that deceived everyone else will graduate. Now then, to begin with...
We already know who did it.
Ich bin zu ehrlich. Quatsch. Mit ihr, wir sind scheiße, meine ich bin scheiße. Du bist zu gut, du brauchst den ganzen Schnick einfach nicht. Ja. Etwas verpasst. Mir doch nur jemand sagen könnte, wie ich das nur wieder aufholen kann. Oh, Waffelsturmleuch, das ist echt nett, dass du fragst. Was Lurker sagt.
Was that?
It was Hiro. He does not have an alibi for when the murders took place, and we found him in that suit. Don't try and deny it! You killed them!
I didn't! Someone knocked me out! I was asleep the whole time! I don't know anything about it!
Shut your murdering mouth, murderer!
Who are you calling a murderer?
I am sorry to say, Hiro, but we do have evidence. Blueprints for the suit. Parts we assume were used to build it. And all of it was found in your room. You have to admit, the evidence is quite compelling.
Man kann so gut dabei essen.
It points to you as having created the suit and wearing it while committing crime after crime.
How many times do I have to tell you?
Also eigentlich ist das für mich jetzt gerade auch zugucken, ne? Wir gucken einfach gemeinsam. Das ist eine Watch-Party, die wir machen.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
Ist Hiro wirklich der Mörder oder nicht? Das müssen wir zuerst klarstellen. Ey, da einmal lobt man's und schon kommt sowas. Hallo, der Bachtippe. Zugucken, gleich essen, ja.
Everything we found in your room. The blueprints, the suit parts, they are all proof enough that you are the culprit.
I don't know anything about that stuff. It's not true. It's a conspiracy.
Hiro, why? Why did you kill them?
No, just hold on a second.
Ja. Ich meine, die Handschrift auf den Blaupausen ist recht schäbig. Ja, ja, ich wollte...
Everything we found in your room. The blueprints, the suit parts, they are all proof that you are the culprit.
It's not true. It's a conspiracy.
Hiro, why?
No! Just hold on a second!
Ja, Entschuldigung.
Everything we found in your room. The blueprints, the suit parts, they are all that you are the
Leertaste,
culprit.
ich drück nicht Leer... Oh, Leertaste, was? Ich habe die ganze Zeit Shift gedrückt.
I don't know anything about that stuff.
It's not true!
Eine Runde noch.
No! Just hold on a second!
Everything we found in your room. The blueprints, the suit parts, they are all proof.
Entschuldigung.
No, that's wrong!
Es wird nicht auf alles geballert. Doch, auf die pinken Sachen darf ich ballern.
Are we sure Hiro really made those blueprints?
What do you mean?
Well, take a look at this. It's the note that Hiro wrote, asking everyone to meet up after Alter Ego disappeared. The handwriting's obviously different, wouldn't you say? When you compare it to the blueprints.
There's no way you could think the same person made both of them.
Unless that person made it a point to disguise their handwriting.
No, the differences are bigger than that, I think.
Ich wollte mich ja
Come
konzentrieren,
on.
aber es war
I'm not
Leertaste.
smart enough to think of trying to change my handwriting anyway.
Oh nein, meine... Ich habe nur noch 2.
So Makoto, are you saying you don't think Hiro's the culprit?
And he's not the only one. I think Hiro's innocent as well.
What?
Then who was in that Robo-Justice suit? Is it like Hiro said? Was there really someone running around in a second suit?
The suspicious individual hidden within the suit. Go ahead, Makoto. Tell them who it was.
Was, eins vor dich? Und natürlich überlässt mir die Antwort.
So? Who was in the Robo-Justice suit?
Das verdächtige Individuum ist... Niemand. Inwiefern macht das Sinn? Der Anzug konnte nicht leer gewesen sein. Schließlich haben wir später Hiro drin gefunden. Ah, Makoto konzentriert sich. Entschuldigung. Okay, ja, dann halt der Mörder. Ist okay. Oh, da ist ein Haken dran. Hä?
Shoot!
Wie jetzt? Aber... Es geht doch um zwei... Hä?
I got it! Other than Hiro, I can't think of anyone else it could have been. Obviously, he was the one in that particular suit, and we never found any kind of second suit.
Then there can be no doubt. Hiro is the prime suspect.
That doesn't make any sense. You just said Hiro didn't do it.
It makes perfect sense. Hiro was the suspicious individual in the suit, but he's not the culprit.
So what you're saying is...
That's right. The culprit in this case has nothing to do with being in the Robo-Justice
Das
suit.
meine ich doch. Das meine ich doch mit niemand.
that's a bold assumption. And what reason do you have to make such a statement? You do have a reason, yes?
Hallo SCSE.
Of course. But before we get to that, there's something else we need to clarify first. So let's get that out of the way.
Hey, stop trying to boss us around!
All things have a proper order.
So, what is it? What needs to be clarified?
We must clarify the method of transportation for Taka's lifeless body. It would seem that his corpse was moved using certain particular items.
Plan und Roll.
Makoto, can you tell us what they were?
Plan und Roll. Die Dinge, die benutzt wurden, um Takas Körper bewegen zu können, sie sind folgendes.
I got it!
Es gibt noch eine Sache. Noch eine Sache. Ja.
I got it! They were a dolly and a tarp,
Die Fußbrille,
right?
ja. Was ist mit dem Verhalten?
So, let's see if I can explain. Taka's body disappeared from the equipment room. And then we rediscovered it in the repository.
Der Zauberer wie beim
When we
Polo
found
war.
it for the second time, it was wrapped in a blue tarp, right? It was the same tarp that, up until then, was stored in the equipment room. So the killer must have seen it there, and decided to use it when they moved Taka's body. That way, they wouldn't leave any bloodstains while they were moving it.
Okay, that explains the tarp. And the dolly?
Same thing. I'm sure the dolly was in the equipment room when we first found Taka's body there. But when the body disappeared, so did the dolly. Later, when Taka's body reappeared in the repository, so did the dolly.
In other words, you think they used the dolly to move the body. Am I right?
Für Dolly zu
But are you sure
Molly,
you are not
Bolly.
mistaken?
Dankeschön, Bandskakor, Dankeschön.
Huh?
Are you absolutely positive the dolly was in the equipment room when we found Taka's body? That dolly was made specifically for moving large objects between the repository and the art room. It would be very strange indeed to discover it had made its way to the equipment room. Is it not possible that it was in the repository all along, and you simply didn't realize it?
She's raised an objection. How do you respond?
There is no shame in being wrong. Nobody expects much from you anyway.
Bitte was?
We have all accepted the fact that you rarely understand what is going on around you.
Bitte was? Ich habe hier jeden verdammten Fall gelöst. Wow, wie kann man bitte so gemein, aber gleichzeitig so nett sein? Vielleicht kann ich sie ja bald überzeugen. Ich muss nur erklären können, warum der Wagen vom Ausstattungsraum in den Kunstraum bewegt wurde. Neue Mechaniken wurden... Was? Okay, neue Mechaniken, auf geht's. Eine neue Note wird vorgestellt. Sie nennt sich die Grünnote. Bevor das genauer angegangen wird, wird dir eine große Neuerung vorgestellt. Vorher konntest du in Kugelkriegen grenzenlos alle Aussagen zerstören, die du erfasst hast. Dies wird jedoch erschwert. Unten auf dem Bildschirm wirst du eine Kugelanzeige sehen. Maximal kannst du bis zu 6 Kugeln auf einmal tragen. Jede Zerstörung einer Aussage verbraucht eine Kugel. Nun zu der Funktion der Grünnote. Mithilfe der Grünnote kannst du eine Kugel nachladen. Um eine Grünnote zu erschaffen, musst du bei einer neutralen Note im Rezeptor Tab drücken. Was? Okay, jetzt folgt eine kleine Zusammenfassung. Welche Notenumwandlungen gibt es? Einmal gibt es die Blaunote, rechte Maustaste, mit der eine aktive Aussage ins Visier genommen wird. Dann gibt es die Gelbnote, linke Maustaste, welche alle erfassten Aussagen vernichtet. Zuletzt gibt es noch die Grünnote Tab, bei der eine Kugel nachgeladen wird. Sollzeit lädt alle Kugeln nach. Die Einführung ist hiermit beendet. Oh, danke. Ich war ja auch also was. Noch was ist so. Wie jetzt? Das war doch immer am
You
Ende.
had it wrong. I cannot agree. You are a fool. So pathetic. Lies will get you nowhere. Do your worst. Away with you. You miserable wretch. I cannot agree. You are a fool. Lies will get you nowhere. Do your worst, you miserable wretch. You have it wrong. I cannot agree. You are a fool. So pathetic. I cannot agree.
Gut, und dir? So, achso.
This should prove it.
Entschuldigung, ich hab's.
If you're asking for proof that the dolly moved, I have it right here. When I found the dolly in the repository, one of the wheels had a blood stain on it. There was a pool of blood in the equipment room with a tire mark in it that matched the dolly wheel's tread. The killer probably rolled the dolly through the blood on accident as they wheeled the body out of the room. And as the blood dried on the tire, they moved the body into the repository. So there's my proof that the dolly was used to move Taka's body.
Gott, hasst mich Celeste wirklich so sehr?
Well, anyway, that was just something we had to get out of the way. Let's get back to the main subject.
Willkommen im Feierabend.
Yeah, the subject of how Robo-Justice didn't do it. Because if it's not a killer robot, then what kind of robot is it?
I'm not sure that really matters.
I'd be happy to explain why the occupant of the suit couldn't possibly be the killer. If you look back on how the body was transported, it will become immediately obvious.
Nur Bewegung. Die Nacht ist noch jung. Zu viel Rhythmus. Waffe schon durch, das kannst du einfach machen. Das ist nicht so schlimm. Also da passiert nicht so viel. Also wenn du es verkackst. Wenn man genau die Methode des Transports der Leiche analysiert, wird man wissen, warum der Träger unschuldig ist. Was meint er damit? Roboter-Anzug.
As we know, Taka was killed in the equipment room. And from there, the body was moved to the repository, correct?
Yeah, the culprit wrapped the body in the tarp, then loaded it onto the dolly and wheeled it off, right?
Now, keep in mind that the dolly doesn't have a handle.
Well, yeah, but even without a handle, all you'd have to do is bend over.
Then you could push the dolly no problem.
Das hat nicht mehr gezählt! Nein!
So the killer and carted the body.
If you accept, then you must realize that who.
Sorry, I don't think I...
Warum drücke
As
ich
we
eigentlich
know,
immer Shift?
and from there.
Yeah, then loaded it on.
Now, keep in mind.
Well, yeah, but even
All you'd have to do is bend over.
No, that's wrong.
Das ist Dance Edition. Tanz mal, das Spiel ja aufgeht. Das hab nur
You're
leider keine.
absolutely right that you could push a dolly without a handle if you stoop down low. But if you were wearing that suit, do you think you could actually get into a position like that?
what do you mean?
Think back to what you said when we were all checking out the suit together. Remember?
Ich bin stockblind hier und kann meine Beine nicht sehen. Wie konntest du damit überhaupt laufen? Ja. Ich sagte euch doch, dass ich es nicht gewesen bin. Und ganz abgesehen davon, ich kann meine Taille nicht bewegen. Was für ein offensichtlicher Fehler.
When you're in that suit, not only can you not see your feet, but you can't even bend at the waist.
Frontparfit.
Am I right about that?
Now that you mention it, yeah.
It seems like it'd be awfully hard to push that dolly if you couldn't bend over.
Well, what's to stop you from simply pushing the dolly with your feet?
When you can't even see your feet? You really think someone could kick the dolly all that way?
Da würde man ja die Leiche runtertreten.
Yeah, it'd be
Not that I can say for sure myself.
On top of that, if you were wearing such a rigid, cumbersome suit, it's very unlikely you would have the dexterity to go about wrapping the body in a tarp.
Well, I mean, isn't that just a matter of taking off the suit when you're ready to move the body?
Es existiert kein Zweifel, dass das Kostüm nicht abgenommen werden konnte, weil... kann es nicht alleine abnehmen.
I got it! I don't think taking off the suit was an option. If you remember...
Hinten. Ich kriege es irgendwie nicht ab. Hilfe! Warum würdest du etwas herstellen, was du nachher nicht abnehmen könntest? Ich habe dieses Scheißteil nicht gemacht. Dort am Rücken identifiziere ich eine Spange, die es dir unmöglich macht, es zu entfernen. Ich werde heiser. Sie sieht ziemlich robust aus. Natürlich kannst du das Kostüm nicht ausziehen. Da wir keine Wahl zu haben scheinen, helfen wir dir.
That's true. It seems impossible to put the suit on or take it off without help.
Then, you really can't take it off by yourself?
Ja, ach
Hero
echt?
wasn't just making it up?
Of course I wasn't making it up.
If he could have gotten it off by himself, I don't think he would have let us see him wearing it. Showing up in the suit was basically an invitation for everyone to suspect it.
Yeah, that's right.
So, it's really, really true that Robo Justice couldn't have moved the dolly?
Wow, echt?
To be clear,
Die ist so schlimm.
whoever did move the body, it couldn't have been Hero in the robot suit, correct?
Ja, ja.
No, wait. Just a second, if you please. Have you forgotten about the picture that I took? You all got a good look at it, did you not? The image of Hifumi being dragged away by
Hifumi?
Robo Justice? If
Hifumi?
whoever was in that suit is not the culprit, how do you explain that? Besides, do you remember what the now deceased Hifumi said?
Wie kamen die Wunden zustande? Dieser Typ hat mich geschlagen. Welcher Typ? Robo Justice. So habe ich ihn genannt erstmal.
So long as those facts exist, the proper conclusion is beyond question.
Wenn du das sagst.
The individual inside the suit and the culprit are one and the same. It was Hero, without a doubt.
Yeah. Yeah, that's gotta be right.
Hold on a second.
It's still far too early to reach that conclusion. Besides, there's no hurry to decide who did it. Before we rush to a verdict, shouldn't we explore every single possibility? Instead of seizing on one viewpoint, the truth is uncovered by analyzing things from every angle.
Sie ist halb... Ich weiß nicht, Mutter oder Vater war Deutsch und Mutter oder Vater war Franzose.
Perhaps, but where do we go from here?
Let's review this series of unfortunate events from the beginning. Maybe we'll uncover something new.
Ja, Gilo Revoice ist schon okay, aber für sowas jetzt, also... Wenn ich irgendwo auf einer Messe wäre oder keine Ahnung, 24-Stunden-Stream, aber jetzt... Muss ja nicht viel reden.
What a pain in the ass!
I don't disagree,
Damit
but our
falsch
lives
klar.
are on the line.
Und ohne
If
uns.
this is what it takes, we have to do it.
Plus, maybe we'll get to find out where the heck Kyoko was when everything went down.
Ich brauch da nichts, das kommt von selbst wieder.
All right then, let's take another look back at what happened. I suppose we could start with this morning. 4 of us gathered together in the dining hall. Makoto, Hina, Kyoko, and myself. We waited there for quite a while, but nobody else showed up, so we went to look for everyone. That was around 8 a.m.
And as soon as we split up, Kyoko went missing.
Soon after that, Hina found Celeste in the rec room and quickly came to get Makoto and me.
It seems I was unconscious for about an hour after I was attacked by my mystery assailant. I know it was an hour because I remember being attacked a little after 7.
Ist der Wöhn? Die Zunge, das ist die Serienmörder-Zunge.
That was when we saw Celeste's picture and discovered that her assailant had been wearing a strange costume. As it turns out, it was Robo Justice. It also soon became clear that this same Robo Justice had abducted Hifumi. We were soon joined in our search by Byakuya and Toko, and then went on to find Hifumi in the library. He was injured, so we took him to the nurse's office and resumed our search for the suspect.
90% aller Serienmörder kennt man an der Zunge. Alle sagen das.
But not long after leaving the nurse's office,
Was ist? Ich sah einen Schatten bei den Treppen.
When Celeste told us that, we decided to split up and search the second floor. And soon after that,
I saw someone moving around on the third floor, and I yelled out to everyone as soon as I did.
Celeste, was ist passiert? Das war ein recht intensiver Schrei für dich. Ich sah ihn, den Mann. Er rannte weg, sobald ich geschrien habe. Da ich die Treppe blockierte, verschwand er weiter in den Flur.
and then
Ja! Oh. Was war das? Es kam von unten. Es muss... Hifumi, wir Idioten haben ihn allein im Krankenzimmer gelassen. Das ist schlecht. Gott, wir müssen zurück.
At that point, we decided to divide up into two groups. Celeste, Hina, and I went back to the nurse's office, while Sakura, Byakuya, and Toko chased after the suspect. When we got back to the nurse's office, we found Hifumi, dead. And that's when we heard the body discovery announcement. I left Celeste and Hina there and headed back to the third floor to let the others know what had happened.
Meanwhile, we had just discovered Taka's body in the equipment room. We must have found both bodies at almost exactly the same time, because we heard the same announcement not long after we discovered his body.
And that's when I told you guys about Hifumi. Then the three of us headed for the nurse's office. But right after we left the physics lab, we ran into Celeste, who'd arrived after us, and she told us something very surprising.
Hifumis Leiche ist verschwunden.
We rushed back to the nurse's office and saw that she was right.
Ich musste kurz gucken. Nach Hundezahnpasta-Zeug. Ich rieche... Mein Hund liegt hinter dem Greenscreen. Ihr wisst ja, wo der liegt. Ich rieche seinen Mundgeruch bis hierhin. Ich halte es nicht mehr aus, weil der hechelt. Also,
Then we remembered we'd left Toko passed out in the equipment room, so we hurried back again.
Wie ist das möglich? Halluzinieren wir etwa?
But when we got there, we discovered that now Taka's body had also gone missing. Next thing we knew, we were searching the school for 2 missing dead bodies.
Schön für euch, was hab ich davon?
And after some time...
Celeste informed us that she'd found the bodies, and we all headed to the repository, which is where we rediscovered the corpses.
I think that about covers it.
I see. The whole thing sounds exceptionally complicated. It certainly seems to me that these are not a simple series of connected events.
Okay, well, if that's true, then what?
Rather than a single series of events, I think we have to
Game
consider
of-
each murder
Danke.
a separate situation. And from there, we can uncover the contradictions surrounding all of them.
Es wird spät.
Now then, let's get started, beginning with what happened to Taka.
Hab ein bisschen übertrieben. Die Widersprüche, welche in Takas Ermordung versteckt sind. Um die Wahrheit des Falls aufzudecken, muss ich sie finden, egal was passiert. Ich habe immer Feststelltaste an, nachdem ich Danganronpa gespielt habe übrigens.
So, regarding Taka's death.
Oh Gott, wie ging das nochmal? Wie war das andere Zielen?
Or perhaps it was after?
We already know what order they were killed in. Taka came last.
What makes you say that?
Because of the numbering of the Justice Hammers.
It's true that Hifumi was killed with Justice Hammer 3, while Taka's death came from a swing of Justice Hammer 4.
See? So it's obvious Taka came after.
Ja, der Mörder wird summarieren für euch. Die Gerechtigkeitshammer waren nummeriert, aber kann man ihr wirklich glauben?
So, regarding Taka's death. I wonder if he died before he...
Or perhaps it was... We already know what order they were killed in. Taka came last.
Ich weiß
What
nur
makes
nicht,
you
was,
say that?
also was davon jetzt dritte... Also,
Because of the numbering of the
Justice
Das da?
Hammers.
Shoot!
dann halt das davor.
So, I wonder if... Or perhaps it was... We already know what order they were killed in.
Shoot!
Leute, ernsthaft, keine Ahnung.
So,
Das ist,
I wonder
ich kann
if
allem
or perhaps it was-
widersprechen
We already know
gerade.
Taka came last.
What makes you say that?
Because of the numbering of the Justice Hammers.
It's true that Hifumi was killed with while Taka's death came.
See? So it's obvious Taka came
Ich muss
after.
doch das machen, richtig?
So,
Regarding, I wonder if... Or
hab
perhaps it was-
alle.
We already know what order they were killed. Taka
Aber-
came last.
Wartet mal. Wie war denn jetzt das mit dem... Wie war denn das jetzt mit dem... Also ich kann nichts anderes auswählen. Wie war denn das jetzt mit dem Beweis ausrüsten? Wie war das nochmal?
What makes
Ah,
you
so,
say
okay,
that?
okay. Ich hab's.
Because of the numbering of the Justice Hammers.
It's true that Hifumi was killed with Justice Hammer 3, while Taka's death came from a
Gedrückt
swing
halten.
of Justice Hammer 4.
Schlaf gut, Black
So it's
Sandbox.
obvious Taka came after.
Nee, kannst du nicht. Warte schon nicht. Kannst du nicht.
So, regarding Taka, I wonder if he died. Or perhaps it was... We already know what order they were killed in.
Soll ich das nehmen?
Taka came last.
What makes you say that?
Because of the numbering of the...
Justice Hammers.
Entschuldigung.
No, that's wrong.
War gerade schwierig. Ich wusste die Steuerung nicht mehr. Sorry.
Hold on. There's no reason to assume that the hammers were used in the same order as their numbers. If anything, that's just another way the killer tried to disguise their actions.
So you're saying the culprit wanted us to think the hammers were used in order, but in reality, Taka was killed before Hifumi? Okay then, let's see the proof.
Ein Beweis, der die Theorie unterstützt, dass Taka vor Hifumi getötet wurde. Kann ich irgendwie die Zeit schildern? Geigenmännchen. Uhr. Armbanduhr. Easy.
Now I understand.
Anal. Oh.
I've got it. Taka's wristwatch.
Gott.
See? Look. It broke with the hands pointing just past 6 o'clock.
It must have gotten broken when he was attacked by the killer. Because as of last night,
Hey ihr, wie lange wollt ihr uns noch warten lassen? Takas irritierende Stimme hallte wieder, als er auf seine Armbanduhr schaute. Wie gesagt, es ist fast 22 Uhr.
so if it wasn't broken after 6 last night, then he must have been attacked around 6 this morning.
And that would be his official time of death.
Richtig.
But if that's true, then he was killed well before Hifumi.
And before Celeste was attacked this morning, which happened around 7.
That's right. Taka was killed before any of the other incidents took place.
That simple fact slipped past all of us. We
Pinkelpause.
made the wrong assumption about the order of events, all because of those justice hammers.
So, alle wieder da. Gut, auf geht's
That's
weiter.
exactly why the culprit wrote the numbers on each hammer and had them increase in size. That way, when we saw how they were used in each incident, we'd easily make that wrong assumption.
Ich putze noch kurz Nase.
Now, if Taka was killed around 6, then everyone's alibis for his murder go out the window. Because when he was killed, we hadn't met up in the dining hall yet.
That may be true in the case of Taka's murder. But all of our alibis still hold true for Hifumi's death.
That's right. With him, at least, we're all safe.
Hä? Was war das? Das kam von unten. Es muss... Hifumi, wir Idioten haben ihn allein im Krankenzimmer gelassen. Wie oft muss ich noch die Szene wieder? Das ist schlecht. Oh Gott, wir müssen zurück.
When we heard Hifumi screaming, we were all together. Except for Hiro and Kyoko. Then we all ran down to the nurse's office, and that's where we found his body.
That's totally true. We're all in the clear.
Mhm.
Oh, I know! They must have recorded him screaming on a tape or something, then played it later on!
Hast du Detektiv Con geguckt?
If that's true, where's the tape?
Hallo, Fudin.
I don't know.
Don't just go making stuff up.
Anyway, we all have rock-solid alibis for when we heard Hifumi scream. Since all of us were there together, clearly none of us could have killed him.
And it does not stop there. There was also the moment when we discovered his body had disappeared. When his body vanished from the nurse's office, Hina and I were in the bathroom together,
Dominik,
while
jetzt
everyone
beantworte
else was in
mal.
the equipment room, correct? And then there's the disappearance of Taka's body from the equipment room. At that time, we were all gathered together in the nurse's office because of Hifumi going missing.
Well, don't forget, I was passed out in the equipment room the whole time.
Wait, then what if Genocide Jill did it? She could have dragged Taka's body out of there right then!
Even if she could pull that off, there's no way she could have done the same with Hifumi's body. Because, as we just established, she was passed out in the equipment room when his body disappeared.
Besides, I didn't do either of them anyway.
In other words, it is impossible that any of us could have killed Hifumi or moved either of their bodies. On the other hand, Hiro and Kyoko had disappeared, so they most certainly could have done those things.
So what now, Kyoko?
For now, we can't get fixated on who did it, or we'll just keep going around in circles. So instead of who, I propose we start talking about how. In particular, I think we need to figure out how Hifumi's body got moved.
Move it.
That's true. We searched everywhere, but we couldn't figure out how to explain his body disappearing. And according to what Celeste said,
Aber wir waren für kaum 2 Minuten weg. Also war der Mörder in der Lage, in dieser kurzen Zeit Hifumis Leiche zu bewegen? Anscheinend.
His body apparently disappeared in the 1 minute her and Hina took their eyes off of it. But to carry that much weight from the first floor up to the third in that short amount of time?
Oh man, yeah! There's no way! It'd be impossible!
Well, what if I told you there was a way to make the impossible possible?
What? How?
If the dead body were to move itself.
The dead body moved on its own?
Ja, ein Zombie.
No! Not another ghost!
I don't think it has anything to do with the occult. I think what she's implying is... we thought Hifumi was dead, but perhaps in reality he was still alive.
He was alive?
Are you saying Hifumi wasn't carried out of the nurse's office, but simply walked out on his own?
Gute Besserung, Odin.
But I mean, we found his body. He was dead.
Perhaps he was simply playing dead.
That it isn't possible.
Die Idee, dass Hifumi noch am Leben war. Kann man ihr vertrauen? Der Idee? Ich vertraue jeder Idee. Armbanduhr, Armbanduhr. Kann ich aufladen?
Are you saying that when we first found Hifumi in the nurse's office,
Kann ich, okay.
there's a chance he was actually still alive?
No, it is impossible. Hifumi was dead, without a doubt.
And you know that how?
Surely you heard the body discovery announcement along with the rest of us. Hifumi's dead body had been found. And that is why the announcement was made.
Are we really so sure about that? Maybe the announcement was intended to signal someone else's discovery.
Ich bin mir sicher, dass die Leichenankündigung nur ein einziges Mal abgespielt wurde, aber die Leichen von Hifumi und Taka wurden zur fast gleichen Zeit entdeckt. Ja, aber ich wollte es
Are
doch
you
gerade
saying that when
einsaugen.
we first found Hifumi, there's a chance he was actually still alive?
No,
Hifumi was dead, and you know that. Surely you heard the body.
Hifumi's dead body had been, and that is why the announcement.
Oder soll ich jetzt...
Maybe the announcement was intended to signal someone else's discovery.
Are you saying that when we first found, there's a chance he was actually
No. Hifumi was dead,
And you know that.
surely you heard the body.
Hifumi's dead body
Had been found.
Okay.
No,
Ich war mir
that's
gerade
wrong.
echt nicht sicher, ob ich das einsaugen kann. Okay, Kasse später. Ich weiß es auch
Was the
nicht.
body
warum ich so mit-
discovery announcement that was
Das
made
ignorieren die
really
komplett.
intended for Hifumi?
Of course it was. The announcement played right after we discovered his body.
Maybe. But that was also the same time that Taka's body was found.
That's right. It wasn't long after finding his body that we heard the announcement.
So there's a good chance we've made a mistake in there somewhere. I think we've confused whether the announcement was for Hifumi or Taka.
First of all, if two bodies had been found, there really should have been two announcements.
Maybe Monokuma simply got lazy and rolled them together into one.
What do you say, Monokuma? Any comment?
Well, it's a very sensitive issue, so I can't go into too much detail. But what I can say about the body discovery announcement is that it's only broadcast when 3 or more people find a dead body for the first time.
That didn't answer our question, man. We're asking if you're a lazy bum.
No, actually, that was plenty.
Huh?
He said it's only broadcast when a body is discovered for the first time, which means even if we find the same body again later, he won't make the announcement again. If that's true, then why was the announcement made again later on?
Huh? Later on?
Exactly. We heard the body discovery announcement twice.
Die zweite Leichenankündigung. Das erste Mal, als sie abgespielt wurde, hatten wir jeweils eine Leiche gefunden. Aber das zweite Mal wurde sie... Was, nachdem Hufumi noch... Hä?
Shoot!
Aber, hä? Stimmt doch. Oh Gott, wir failen. Chat, wir failen.
I got it! We heard it a second time in the repository, when we rediscovered the two bodies.
Also jetzt mal ohne Scheiß, ja? Die kam, als Hifumi erneut starb, weil er dann nämlich zum ersten Mal gestorben ist. Ding dong, ding dong. Eine Leiche wurde entdeckt. Nach einer gewissen Zeit beginnt das Klassengericht.
It didn't seem weird at the time, but it contradicts what Monokuma just told us, doesn't it?
Vogel nachgedacht.
Exactly. If we were actually rediscovering both bodies, the announcement shouldn't have played.
Then in reality, when the two dead bodies were rediscovered, one of them was actually being discovered for the first time.
So, when we found Hifumi the first time in the nurse's office, he wasn't actually dead yet. Meaning, he wasn't actually found dead until we came upon him in the repository.
Doch.
And that's just part of it. There's one other thing that leads me to believe he was still alive in the nurse's office.
Das Spiel versteht mich einfach nicht.
Because he was super good at playing dead! Bada bing, bada boom!
That is the worst logic I have ever heard. But honestly, I do not think there's anything that can prove he was still alive.
Ja, leider, Dominik. Schlimm. Echt schlimm.
Okay then, let's take another look at the events surrounding the discovery of his body. Then it should become clear whether he was really alive or not.
This whole thing is pointless.
Es muss einen Beweis geben, dass Hifumi damals noch am Leben war. Ich muss ihn finden und darstellen. Gib her. Gib Beweis. Ich zeig Beweis. Gib Beweis, dann zeige ich Beweis. Oh Mann, das wollte ich doch machen.
Well, here's one thing we do know. The first time we found Hifumi's body was in the nurse's office. And then, while me and Celeste were in the bathroom, his body disappeared.
And the next time we saw his body, it was in the repository.
But when you compare his body before being moved and his body after being moved, other than the change in how it was positioned, there was no notable difference.
Then,
Of course
Oh
not.
nein, ich hab
It is
schon
impossible.
wieder.
Oh, this is
Ja,
ridiculous.
schon wieder. Oh, ich drücke mal die falsche Taste. Okay.
well, here's
Okay.
one thing. The first time we found him, and then his body disappeared.
And the next time we saw his body, it was in the
Nein,
repository.
ist doch
But when
normal.
you compare
Ist doch
his
normal.
body before being moved, other than the change in how it was positioned, there was no notable difference.
No, that's wrong.
Es gibt verschiedene Sachen. Das ist jetzt das.
In fact, there was one clear difference between
Footage
Hifumi in the
wie
nurse's
selber.
office and the repository.
Der labert zu viel. Ich erkläre gar nichts mehr.
His glasses. That fact alone proves that he was only playing dead in the beginning.
Perhaps you'd like to fill the rest of us in?
When we found Hifumi in the nurse's office, his glasses were covered with blood. But when we found him again later in the repository,
Dann wüsstest du, dass es verschiedene Modi gibt. Den einen, wo du einsaugen musst und abschießen musst. Den einen, wo du mehrere Bullets hast. Und den einen, wo es um die Zeit geht.
they were spotless.
Noch nicht gestorben.
And I found the item he used to wipe them clean in the nurse's office trash can.
Der Beweis, den ich im Mülleimer des Krankenzimmers gefunden habe, ist... Ach so, rechtsklick, sorry.
I got it! It was a glasses cleaning cloth featuring a certain cartoon mascot. One look at the bloodstain on the cloth should make things clear.
Die
This
Lagertür habe ich
piece
im
of
Mülleimer
cloth was
gefunden,
used
was?
to wipe Hifumi's glasses clean.
Okay.
And the mascot on the cloth is the same one that's on the digital camera, right? And whose digital camera was it? Hifumi's, of course.
The character was Princess Piggles from Demon Angel Pretty Pudgy Princess, I think.
I highly doubt anyone but Hifumi would have brought something like this to school.
Hey, warum?
I see your point. And the only people here who wear glasses are...
I wouldn't be caught dead using a tacky piece of garbage like that.
Stellt sich Byakuya mit so, keine Ahnung, von mir aus Sailor Moon vor. So, überall sind irgendwelche Pummeluffs, Sailor Moon, Doremi, dann die Kamikaze, die... Und alles rosa. Sein Zimmer, ne? Wetten ist einfach rosa mit Herzen und Rüschen überall.
A few tissues is all I need to keep my glasses clean.
Then there's no question. It belonged to Hifumi.
So what you're saying is... What exactly?
What I'm saying is, the blood on his glasses was wiped away using his own glasses cleaning cloth.
Zeigt Pummeluff-Boxershorts, da bin ich auch für, will ich auch haben.
Even if that is true, it does not mean he wiped the blood off himself.
But who would benefit from a clean pair of glasses other than the glasses owner?
That's a good point.
Then it must have been him, right?
So let's assume that Hifumi was still alive in the nurse's office. He pretends to be dead. Then when he's alone, he wipes his glasses clean so he can see. Then he stands up and walks out on his own 2 feet. And with that, the impossible task of moving his copious corpse becomes possible, wouldn't you say?
But then, if he was just pretending to be dead, what was with all that blood? Was it paint or something?
The fridge in the nurse's office contains packs of blood for emergencies. He probably used one of those.
He figured if he was gonna play dead, he should go all out, so he just dumped it everywhere! But he got crazy with it and had to wipe his glasses off when he was done! God, what an idiot!
And if Hifumi was still alive at that point, the disappearance of Taka's body is easily explained. It should be perfectly obvious who must have moved Taka's corpse.
Derjenige, der Takas Leiche bewegt hat, war...
I got it! It could only have been Hifumi.
Boom.
While we were all gathered in the nurse's office, he went to the equipment room and took Taka's body.
That also explains how the door to the repository got locked.
The door was locked? Well, after the bodies disappeared, we all went looking for them, right?
Ja.
So me and Sakura headed for the repository. But when we got there, the door was locked.
And the repository door can only be locked from the inside. Which means, when Hina and Sakura got to the repository, someone was already inside.
And it could only have been Hifumi, who just finished stashing Taka's body there.
He convinced us all he was dead, and when he saw his chance, he dragged Taka's body to the repository. So, Hifumi wasn't just another victim in this case. He was one of the assailants.
But that means he took part in the murders.
I just can't believe it.
If you're having trouble, would you like me to show you one more piece of evidence?
Nee.
There's more?
Nö.
Oh, absolutely. The single biggest fact pointing to his involvement has yet to be revealed. You know what I'm talking about, right, Makoto? The item he took off of Taka's lifeless body?
Der Gegenstand, den Hifumi von Taka gestohlen hat, könnte es sein.
I got it! You're talking about the note Hifumi had hidden away, aren't you?
Hidden note?
Können wir nicht einfach Kyoko spielen, Foodie?
That's right. We found it stuffed in his pants.
What? In his pants?
Yes, his pants.
Okay, well, forget about the pants for now. Take a look at what the note says.
Ich fand ein Loch, durch das wir entkommen können. Monokuma darf das nicht wissen, also sag das niemandem. Wir treffen uns im Ausstattungsraum um 6 Uhr. In Ordnung?
Ah, that's the note I was telling you about. The one that told me where to go. Huh? Wait, this one's a little different.
It's like pets.
In my note it said, Monokuma can't find out, so don't tell anyone else for now. Let's meet in the rec room at 1 a.m.
I see. Then this note isn't the same one Hiro got.
Jeder, der war es, weil blablabla benessen.
It's not the same?
In other words, the killer got in touch with another person besides Hiro. And that person could only have been...
Was?
Shoot!
Schon wieder Hifumi?
In other words, the killer got in touch with another person besides Hiro. And that person could only have been...
Entschuldigung, ich hab's sogar voll falsch gelesen.
I got it! That's right! Taka! The killer used this note to draw out Taka and murder him.
Hello?
Der
Over here!
Mörder hat den Mörder
Attention!
kontaktiert, genau.
Attention! I don't really
Entschuldigung.
understand what's going on, but Hifumi had that letter, right? So whoever wrote it wasn't drawing out TikTok, they were drawing out Huffy!
Just to be clear, TikTok is Taka and Huffy is Hifumi, right?
Ugh! Yes! Why must you ruin it every time?
Ist nicht Barry Stars, da hätte er sich selbst angerufen. Ja, und selbst mit sich erstmal einen inneren Monolog geführt und das 3 Stunden lang. Mann, Genocide Jack geht mir vielleicht auf die Nerven, aber trotzdem muss ich diskutieren.
Huffy had the note, right? Then the person it was intended for must have been Huffy!
Hey!
But remember what the note said. What time did it say to meet?
6 a.m., I believe.
The time doesn't matter! The note has nothing to do with TikTok!
No, that's wrong.
That's wrong! Non-stop dance!
No, there absolutely is a connection.
What the hell are you talking about?
The note said to meet at 6 a.m., which is the same time Taka was murdered. We've already proven that using his wristwatch. But there's more. Look where the note says to meet. The equipment room, right?
Which is where Taka was killed. I see.
So, Taka was murdered at both the time and place written in the note. I think that should be plenty to show that this note was definitely meant for Taka.
Well, when you put it like that... No further objections!
Then someone used that note to trick Taka. Just the same as me.
Genau. Er ist doch nicht so dumm.
The culprit really is a cold-blooded monster. Telling people they found a way out.
But if they gave the note to Taka, what was Hifumi doing with it?
Stuffed down his pants, no less!
Most likely, Hifumi stole it off Taka's corpse after he died.
Huh? He stole it?
Where's your proof?
Oh.
Go ahead, show us.
Hä? Er hat geatmet? Zeig uns den Beweis, dass er geatmet hat. Ein Beweis, dass Hifumi die Notiz von Taka stahl.
I got it! When I searched Taka's body, I saw that his lifeless hand was gripping a small scrap of paper. If I'm right about this, the sheet of paper this piece came from is... I knew it! It fits perfectly with the note we found hidden on Hifumi.
Brillenputztuch in Poliertuch umbenennen. Zum Schlafenrock. Ja, das können wir machen.
Then Taka's scrap and Hifumi's note.
Yup. They're from the same piece of paper.
Hifumi had the note meant for Taka, while Taka's corpse still grasped a small piece of that note. There's only one way to explain it.
Taka died clutching the note. Hifumi tried to free the note from his death grip, leaving behind only one small scrap. Did I get all that right?
That means Hifumi knew the note was important.
Exactly. Which proves that he was an accomplice in the murder.
Whoa. Yeah. After seeing all this, Hifumi was super involved in this whole thing for sure. In fact, he was behind the whole thing. In fact, he's still alive.
Sorry, no.
Was? Für was? Ich hab grad
When we
versucht, meine
found
Maus
him in the
sauber zu machen. Was?
repository, Hifumi was truly and completely dead. The second body discovery announcement proves that.
So then, who killed Hifumi?
Whoever did is the mastermind, the true killer.
He was killed in the repository. So he must have been killed not long after transporting Taka's body.
So, he must have been killed after Taka's body vanished, but before we found both bodies in the repository.
During that time, we'd all split up and were searching for Taka's missing body.
Da ist so viel Make-up drauf.
In other words, during that time, none of us have it.
Wait,
Oh,
but me and Soft, stop trying to steal the spotlight, you stupid walrus!
in anderen Worten, währenddessen hat niemand ein Alibi. Warte, aber Sakura und ich waren zusammen. Hör auf, dir das Bühnenlicht zu schnappen, du dummes Walross.
Who are you calling a walrus?
Anyway, when they were killed bothers me too. But there's something...
And what might that be?
Ich drück gar nicht.
The weapon they used to kill Hifumi.
The weapon?
Yeah. Because, I mean, according to the Monokuma file, the way Taka and Hifumi were killed was almost the same, with them having similar fractures and all. But Justice Hammer 3 and 4 were still laying around in the nurse's office and equipment room, right? So if Hifumi was killed in the repository, the culprit would have had to grab one of the hammers, kill Hifumi, then put the hammer back where they found it. But wouldn't that be seriously risky for him?
I'm surprised. It seems there's some semblance of a brain knocking around that skull of yours after all.
Cool.
Hell yeah, it's packed in there good and tight.
He's right, though. I don't understand it either. The Monokuma file makes it clear that they were killed using similar instruments. But if the hammers were already laying around those other rooms...
So the question is, how could the culprit have gotten their hands on either of the hammers? Personally, I haven't a clue.
Hä?
So
hing die
which
Hammer.
hammer was used to attack Celeste? Number 1 or number 2?
Those were accounted for in other rooms too. And I don't think either one is big enough to kill someone.
Then,
Is it not possible they used a different weapon?
Oh, verstehst du mich? Nee, ich habe halt immer vom Schminken noch so ein bisschen Make-up-Reste und nach so einem halben Jahr ist dann genug Make-up drauf, dass sie auch geschminkt, also als geschminkt zählt.
I don't think it is possible. They were both killed with the same kind of thing, right?
So then, what was used to kill Hifumi?
Die Waffe, die Hifumi erledigte. Der Fall ist vorher nicht durchschaubar. Ich muss die Ereignisse klar machen und eine Antwort finden. Ich mache alle Ereignisse klar da. Ich bin gut im Klarmachen. So, ja.
What was used to kill Hifumi? Was it Justice Hammer 3? Maybe Justice Hammer 4?
Sehen wir jetzt durch.
Whatever it was, there's one thing we have to figure out. How was the culprit able to move around so freely with the weapon? How did nobody witness them carrying it?
Sounds like a Justice Hammer 5 is about to make its appearance!
Nicht, schade. Es hat so gewackelt. Keine Ahnung, was du da sagst. Sei still, bevor ich dich zersteche. Okay. Oh, ich sollte nicht mehr einfach so schießen. Ich sollte es echt einfach...
What was used to kill
Was it just maybe Justice? Well, there's one. How was the culprit? How did nobody witness? Sounds like a Justice Hammer 5 is about to make its appearance! Check out murdergear.com/hammertime for more info!
Well, one thing seems pretty clear. The murder weapon had to be one of the Justice Hammers. And,
No,
Hä,
that's
ob
wrong.
jetzt Nummer 5 oder einfach nur Justice Hammer? Warum? Also,
The murder weapon wasn't a justice hammer at all. No, it was something completely different.
but, seriously? A different weapon?
Ist das sauber irgendwie. Ja, ne? Mäuse sind halt... Also, das Schöne ist, Männer haben halt meistens jetzt also kein Make-up dran. Und die meisten Leute, die vorm PC sitzen, haben generell kein Make-up dran, weil sie halt, also in den meisten Fällen wahrscheinlich nicht streamen. Und wenn, dann ohne Cam wahrscheinlich. Es heißt, bei euch ist nur Handschweiß dran. Bei mir ist aber das Make-up noch dran.
Specifically, a hammer from the repository. The killer could have easily used that to kill Hifumi. Now, all the hammers in the repository were covered in flecks of grit and debris.
Schade, ich bin nur am Rechner geschminkt. Fühle ich.
But for some reason, one of them had been scrubbed clean.
Huh?
And the reason it had been scrubbed clean was most likely because it was used to commit murder. If the hammer got covered in Hifumi's blood, of course they'd have to clean it off.